my guy, man. I played with him in Dallas. Well, I was on his team in Dallas. But, and then there was a lot of talk. They'll never have the best player in a playoff series. And I think we can all, if you don't agree with this, then I don't know what you've watched this year in the NBA. Jalen Brunson is a top 10 player in the NBA. I did my votes earlier this morning. I had him in the top 5 in MVP. And it's a long explanation, but I had him 6th in terms of all NBA. So he ended up on the second team all NBA. Giannis, I jumped onto the first team. So to me, he was one of the, let's call it 6 to 10 best players in the league.
Yep.
And I think in any matchup, they match up well because they have one of the best players. They have an identity. They have, to our point earlier, they have guys who have completely bought into roles. DiVincenzo all of a sudden becoming this high volume, deep 3-point threat who also guards. I think he was like second in deflections after January 1st in the entire NBA. You got Josh Hart running around doing whatever he does like a madman. Hartenstein has been fucking phenomenal this year on both ends. OG, they're 20-3 in the lineup with OG. I think they're the favorites, regardless of who they play. And I know Miami's pedigree in the playoffs, and I know what Philly has in Joel Embiid. To me, the tougher matchup is the Philadelphia 76ers because they have Joel Embiid.
And that was my follow-up question.
Yes.
How do you
the
feel
tougher
about
matchup.
the Knicks not ducking the smoke and being like, yo, you know what? We want it with you, Joel. Bring it. We got you.
Were you ever on teams that did that
What's that?
at the end of the season? Like intentionally lost games to get a worse seed
For matchup reasons.
for matchup reasons? I remember in 17,
No.
17, 18. Yeah, my first year in Philly. That was the year that Boston got off to a great start, and then Kyrie gets hurt, is going to miss the season.
Yes.
And everybody was trying to like duck into the 7 seed so they could play Boston in the first round.
I remember one year.
Milwaukee did. Be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
Boston ended up getting to game 7 of the conference finals.
Yeah, to your point, be careful what you ask for. Because it was the year here in New York where we felt like we matched up better with Miami, right? It was like just at that time we felt like we could match up with them. So we was like, we want Miami. Like we want to face Miami. We don't want to go play against Indiana first, where it's going to be Roy Hibbert and drawn out and you know what I mean? Like we don't want that first round. We would get that. We would take that, but we feel like we can match up better with Miami. Then we win a game or some shit like that, and they got us the fuck out of there. But it was just like, watch what you asked for. Watch what the fuck you asked for. We ran, up against them as they were on their way to being great. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So to your point, yeah, you gotta ask what you watch what you asked for. But we wanted it though. We really wanted that.
And it was, listen, I remember
But
that
I think
season,
today, I do believe that it's a lot more of that today. Where teams are just like,
strategy.
yeah, like, man, we ain't, this game, we need that game. We don't need that game. We want Indiana's like we want Milwaukee. I think a lot of teams is looking at Milwaukee like we want Milwaukee.
You the antelope in the back of the herd.
And you still gotta go, but you still have to go through Milwaukee. Like you still have to go through those boys.
I agree. I agree.
We can't be disrespecting them like they sweet. But as teams that saying we want Milwaukee because they may feel like that, but you still have to beat Milwaukee.
I feel like part of the reason that if it's true that teams are trying to get specific matchups in the first round or trying to avoid a certain team's bracket for the second round so that they can get to the conference finals, I think one of the things that has happened in the last few years is there's more parity.
Yes.
Right? There's more good teams. The depth of talent, to me, is higher than it's ever been, and it's more spread out than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can have, you go down the list. I did the All-NBA stuff today, and it's like you got play-in teams with 2 guys who have legit All-NBA seasons on 46, 47 win teams, right? You have Philly in that 7 spot with an MVP and an all-star, all-NBA player in Tyrese Maxey.
Yes.
That's what you're getting in the 7 spot.
Yes.
So if you're thinking about, we got to avoid this, I think there's some truth to that, because playoffs are about matchups and how you can exploit other teams' weaknesses. It's not just about, we're the better team. The better team doesn't always win in a playoff series.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So that's why I say teams they plot. I think even more so today is just they looking. Everybody's watching the same thing. Everybody's reading and hearing the same comments and same feedback from the games and teams and piggybacking off of what everybody else is saying. So I do believe like these players are actually seeking out teams and players that they want to match up against.
Yeah, and I think
it may not be to the point where it's like a big conversation, but it's internally happening.
Nah, I definitely believe that. I mean, y'all can confirm or deny, but like, I feel like shit is more data driven now, where it's just like, look, we match up, we played this team this amount of times during the season, we match up well, da 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 da. So
that.
let's
that goes out the window. In playoff time, it goes out the window. It's different. It's different.
It feels different. That's what I'm saying. Like it feels like every possession. It feels more like almost like football, where like every time you have the ball in your possession, you gotta make something happen. You know what I mean? Because this could be what makes or breaks this game.
Every
and you
possession,
extrapolate that, and it's like the series.
Counts.
Yeah.